Thanks so much for spending some time with me so we can know a bit more about you.
Well, thank you.
And the music series.
Yeah.
Most of us are quite interested to know how you got involved with prog rock or prog music.
I've always been a fan of the music that became known as progressive. I was first taken by the sounds of Kansas. I listened to all the bands, Crimson and all the late Beatles and old Genesis and Yes kind of started to help cut my teeth. An old friend of mine who does a similar thing out on the West Coast turned me on to a lot of other stuff. Through the internet, I found a Kansas discussion group back in the mid-90s. And from there I learned of a great event down in North Carolina called Prog Day. And at the same time as I started going to that, I started a music series at the Historic House Museum I used to be a part of. I started hearing rumblings of other people doing another festival, the wonderful festival that I was involved in for years, started by Rob LaDuca and Chad Hutchinson. I should mention, of course, Peter Renfro, who started Prog Day. And then I heard of this guy, Mike Potter, who had started doing live shows of progressive nature down in Baltimore. And so I said, well, I'm trying to find a way to do a monthly series. After some frustrating stances with different venues in the New Brunswick scene and some other things, I moved the show to the Mettler Bodine House, and that's really where the name New Jersey ProgHouse started. It started with the Flower King show in a double parlor.
Did you have any trepidations about the success of the whole idea?
Yeah, I experienced a great deal of trepidation. When the last show I swore to myself I would ever do, which was on September 8th of 2001. I was working with a really decent venue. I had the help of some local folks who were very good to me. And we had various shows there. And then Flower King show was scheduled. This is prior to the ProgHouse show with them. And then the proprietor of the studio we were using for the show said, you can't do the show. The 11th hour found a great space in New Brunswick. It's called the George Street Playhouse. Just happened to have that day available. Turned out to be a wonderful night. But then I said, that's it. I'm going to go out on that. And it was a nice little run. There was too much stress. And here we are still, because it just kept on rolling. We've always been nonprofit. Our goal is to give the bands a place to play and give them whatever money we can. We only take operating costs out.
That's a very magnanimous gesture.
Well, thank you, but I've always just kind of done it because I thought it was the best thing to do. I wanted to do it.
Paint an angel's hat on you.
Oh, thank you. I think I have one in the closet.
All right,
Yeah.
Let's go find it.
All right.
You don't do this alone, though. You have volunteers.
I do. Well, the first, 4 or 5 shows, it was just me. And Beth Hanna and Russ Sciortino, they were the very first volunteers. And Russ's dad was known as Jersey Joe Sciortino, and he was one of the big sound reinforcement guys in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They were inspired to help me because I guess I was doing it right. I don't know. My plan was to do it right. As things progressed from there, they introduced me to the studio, which was called Heavy Metal Sound. And then they helped me with the first few shows at the ProgHouse. And then there was a bunch of madmen and women who were showing up to these shows. And they'd get there early. And we found ourselves sitting outside. We're hanging out. We put our lawn chairs out. Then I would go inside and set up all the chairs. And then one day they were like, you want some help? And I was like, oh, yeah, okay. That just became a regular thing, and that was Ray and Noreen Laboda and Bonnie Maroney. John Yarger was really the first to come on board. Come in, he'd offered anything he could, and he just wanted to record the shows. That was in January of '01. I'll look at the camera. John, was that right? I think it was at the Symphony X show, which was the first New Jersey show they had done. Then we move ahead, and Carl Eisenhart comes in, and he starts helping with sound. Then it really happened. The big click was Ray and Noreen wanted to cook for the Straubs. And I thought that was a great idea because they wanted to be catered, and they said, "Oh, we'll still use our tickets." I said, "No, no, no. You come in, you cater, you enjoy the show, and I'll sell the tickets to somebody else." And there had been somebody else who sold their tickets, and then discovered that they could come. So I sold him those tickets, and then that became Kenny Lesko, another part of the crew, soon to be known as the staff. Then we had a fire, so we started using a place called the old Franklin Schoolhouse in Metuchen, New Jersey. And that's where we really exploded. The staff grew. Noreen Laboda and Michelle, they would start cooking. It was a 70-seat space in an old one-room schoolhouse. After a few years, and then I found another place, thanks to Greg Jones, the great coffee guru. And we used a place called Rockin' Joe's, and it's a great rock and roll vibe coffee cafe place. And we did some amazing shows there. Alan and Amy have been invaluable. They expressed interest in helping. And this is good, because, things ebb and flow, Ray and Boney and Noreen and Mishy, they were coming from Harrisburg and Fishkill. Thank God, Alan has been an incredible member of the staff with getting everything ready prior to the show with regards to the technical requirements. And then we've got this badass doorman named Amy Benjamin. She's an intimidating force at the door, I tell you. We have Mikey Emerson, who's been one of a stalwart staff members since he started driving Neil Morse around. Ro and Sharon are newer members of our staff, and we've had a lot that I haven't mentioned that have come and gone over the years. And I love you all. And then eventually that place closed, and we wound up we used a place called the Crossroads and 10th Street Live, and then through the suggestion of a ProgHouse regular and a friend from work and a friend from my son's soccer games, who all said at the same time, "You should check out this place." It's called Roxy and Dukes, and we've been there ever since. I went and checked it out, spun my tale to the owner, Jim Parks. He understood what I was doing because he does it with a different genre. But it was the same do-it-yourself, get ready, prog fans, the punk rock ethic, okay? It's not so bad. We have a plan for at least 5 to 10 more years. And for this immediate future, in January, we have Project R&L, and we also have Mike Cood, and we have a show possibly in February with Bon Lazaga Project. We have District 97 coming in May, and we have Advent in April, and the Tea Club.